The Rndr token is one of the hottest AI altcoins on the market right now, and it has just hit a new all-time high after rallying over 2,000% from its bear market lows at 40 cents, currently sitting at about $9.50. Now, this comes as the Rndr CEO, Jules Urbach, is set to speak at the biggest AI event at the year. That is the NVIDIA GTC event, and he has revealed that he has some very big updates regarding Rndr and some of the work they have been doing recently in the AI space. You can expect to hear about all of this and more in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. So without further ado, let's get right into today's altcoin of discussion, and that is going to be the Rndr token. Now, this token at the time of recording is up 37% on the day. It is up about 20% over the past 7 days, up 120% over the past month, up 682% over the past year, and it's up about 2,000% from the bear market bottom it put in. In fact, let me actually get an accurate depiction here. So this coin is now up about 2,300% from that bear market low at the 40-cent range. It has just broken through an all-time high, and we can see here, based on the USD chart, this coin is effectively in price discovery at the moment. Now, what I find interesting is this coin has not only broken an all-time high on its USD pair, but it is also coming very close to breaking an all-time high versus Bitcoin. In fact, on the weekly candles, it has hit an all-time high, but we do need to get above this wick right here. So the chart, technically speaking, looks very strong on both its US pair as well as comparing it versus Bitcoin. And I do think there is a reason for this. We know this has been one of the most popular AI coins on the market right now. And Jules Urbach is set to speak at the upcoming NVIDIA GTC event. So the Rndr network actually tweeted on March 6, register for NVIDIA's GTC 24 event for a deep dive into the future of AI, GPU, AI rendering, light field technologies, and more. So here it is on the official NVIDIA GTC website. This is not something being made up. It is right here. Join Jules Urbach as he presents his vision for the future of GPU and AI-driven rendering and how it will impact gaming, visual effects, media, design, and art into the 2030s and beyond. He'll discuss the roadmap for Octane Rndr and the Rndr network, the industry's first blockchain-distributed GPU rendering network and 3D marketplace. Jules will also detail how the future of media lies in holographic, AI, light field technology, and real-time rendering, and how Otoy, which is the parent company for the Rndr network, if I'm not mistaken, is working to help drive that future through Octane Rndr, Brigade, and the Rndr network. So a lot here has to do with, ray tracing, holographic displays, and then we get into some AI and blockchain applications. And this description here is pretty vague, but before we even had any sort of alpha on this event, I already suspected that this would cause a massive run-up in the Rndr price. If you go back to our prior videos on this altcoin, we've been talking about this event, over the past couple of weeks, and I do think that the hype is really going to build going into this. You got to figure, NVIDIA by far has been the stock that everybody on Wall Street is talking about. I'm sure everybody is going to be tuned in listening to this event. It currently has a $2.22 trillion market cap, making it the third most valuable company in the world. And it's up, 2,255% over the past 5 years. So this has been a big story, the biggest stock on Wall Street over the past year or so, and I think that a lot of institutional eyes are going to be on this event. And, we know that right now crypto is taking off as well. Just take a look at the market, right? Like Bitcoin is effectively near all-time highs. Ethereum is also near, Ether is still about 25% off all-time highs, but, year to date, the performance here has been really impressive. So we got AI and blockchain, both of which have played played a really big, have been a big part of the market this year and this bull run and the previous year as well, since 2023. And Rndr basically sits in the middle of both of the blockchain and the AI narrative. So, if you factor in all the institutional eyes that will be watching this NVIDIA event, I think you can kind of piece together why I believe that Rndr has already taken off, into the event, and why I believe this will continue following this presentation here at the GTC event by Jules Urbach. Now, we didn't have too much alpha on what exactly he was going to speak about. I just figured that his presence alone at an event like this would put a lot of eyes on Rndr. But we did actually get some alpha here. Shout out to Dog Crypto on Twitter. And this is a post from a Telegram group channel that is said to be from Jules Urbach. I've seen a couple of other images floating around Twitter, but this one I think is the most interesting to me. So it says, okay, so if for no other reason, then I can, it's meant to say, do a much deeper dive into AI on Rndr than in earlier presentations. Given the speed and massive changes we are and around Rndr, depends if I have green light to share some of the bigger, and then it gets cut off. So I don't know exactly what happened there. But, effectively, he's saying that if the team allows him, then he can get into a much deeper dive on how Rndr is working on AI, given the speed and massive changes at the Rndr network. And to me, this does seem like a very big deal, okay? If we are, if you want to kind of think about what those changes are, well, when Rndr actually initially was created, it was simply for, 3D content generation. So actually offering that idle GPU power for 3D content creation, for 3D rendering tasks. And effectively, it is a decentralized GPU rendering platform. So what this means is that people with GPU power are effectively able to, loan out this compute power to the Rndr network. And then, rendering artists will tap into this idle GPU power for their rendering tasks. And the people who are lending out their compute power are then paid in Rndr tokens. So very interesting concept that had a lot of use cases for 3D content creation, and basically offering infinitely scalable GPU compute power. Now, the reason this is so big is because Rndr has quickly shifted from offering this compute power for only 3D content creation, and they are now offering this GPU power for machine learning tasks. In other words, artificial intelligence. So this was actually an article posted by Vanek, a big player in traditional finance that is also pretty bullish on crypto. And this is from their article that was basically covering, crypto and AI convergence. I did feature the entire article in a previous video, but to me, this is the most important part right here. So Rndr, who recently migrated to Solana, was initially focused on connecting artists to decentralized groups that would provide GPU power to render images and videos. However, Rndr has begun to focus its decentralized GPU fleet on satisfying machine learning workloads to support deep learning models. Through Network Improvement Proposal RNP004, Rndr now has an API to connect to external networks like IO.net that will utilize Rndr's network of GPUs for machine learning. Subsequent proposals by the Rndr community were passed to allow its GPU to be accessed through Beam and FedML to fulfill machine learning tasks. As such, Rndr has become a decentralized facilitator of GPU workloads, coordinated by Rndr payments to providers and Rndr incentives to entities running the network's back-end infrastructure. So, Rndr has very quickly shifted into offering this idle GPU power for machine learning tasks, and that is a really big deal, guys, okay? We know that is all the hype right now, AI, and even NVIDIA CEO has cited himself that the demand is not an issue. There is so much demand for this GPU power. The issue is actually pertaining to the supply, and that is an issue that the Rndr networks looks to solve with their idle GPU computing power, okay? So, offering this decentralized GPU rendering platform and now machine learning, offering it up for machine learning, basically offers as much supply as is being contributed to the Rndr network. That is a very big deal in my opinion, and a reason that I do believe Rndr will be set to continue benefiting from the increased demand for AI which I do think we're still in the very early innings of, right? I really think that as time goes on, AI demand and this demand for GPU is only going to get more and more, right? So Rndr network definitely sits at the middle of some very big narratives for the space. Now, the actual chart itself, to kind of wrap things up, it definitely has followed suit with the hype train. I mean, you can take a look at this thing. We are effectively in price discovery mode at the moment. And as I said, from that 40-cent bottom, we're looking at about a 2,350% gain, right? And from that peak that it hit at about $9.80, that was about a 2,600% peak. I mean, we know the market loves round numbers. I would not be surprised to see $10 on the table for this coin. Doesn't mean it has to happen, but it's basically clear skies. So when it comes to technical analysis, the honest truth, guys, is it's anybody's guess what it's going to do from here. What we could see, which would be pretty bullish actually, would even be a nice back test of that $8.73 all-time high, and then a continuation higher of the move, a back test of previous all-time highs before continuing up higher. Generally is speaking from a technical analysis standpoint. And yeah, I mean, right now the chart does look really good, okay? So in terms of the USD pair, we have broken all-time highs. And in terms of the Bitcoin pair, this is something else I do like to take a look at. And the reason for this really is that when you're investing in altcoins, you do want to, I personally think it's valuable to compare it to its Bitcoin pair, because when you're buying altcoins, you're taking on a lot more risk than if you were just buying Bitcoin. So you want to make sure the risk is worth the reward. If your altcoin is underperforming Bitcoin, you're taking on more risk for less reward. It doesn't really make sense. So here we can actually see that Rndr is, if we remove this wick right here, it actually has broken all-time highs in terms of its Bitcoin pair on the weekly chart. However, if we are factoring in for the wicks that actually did come up right over here, then we do still have to break above that zone, and then we will actually be in all-time high territory. A wick above here, came back down below, and it looks like it does want to continue back up to that level. So, I mean, in terms of both its Bitcoin pair as well as its USD pair, the coin looks good. The narratives are intact in terms of the AI and blockchain. And yeah, considering that it has broken all-time highs, that does tend to historically be pretty bullish for coins. It does tend to attract a lot of, FOMO capital flooding into the markets. And just given the FOMO right now in general surrounding crypto and AI, I would not be surprised to see a continuation of this move, especially if you go ahead and go to CoinMarketCap. And then if we actually take a look at the 24-hour percent gainers, you can see right here that Rndr is up here with, the meme coins that have been absolutely ripping lately. And then we have other AI coins. We have Near here as well, but we got Fetch AI up 43%, Near up 40%. Of a rip in here. But yeah, you can see Rndr is basically in the top 3 performers in this time period, broken an all-time high. And yeah, we'll just see how the move goes from there. But I do think a lot of it has to do with the upcoming NVIDIA conference and the fact that we will potentially see a lot of institutional eyes paying attention to Rndr at this event. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. You know what to do if you made it all the way to the end. You are an absolute champion. Let me know in the YouTube comments down below and claim that champion status. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.